everybody, welcome to Dakman Productions and welcome to the Conahay Rail basement area. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I've had requests from viewers who are new to the O-scale / O-gauge hobby on how to do different things. You know, how to wire, how to, do basic stuff for a newbie. And I'll show how to do some basic things. I won't get too crazy involved into, stuff that is for a somebody who's more advanced. So I'm going to start these videos off for basically the beginner. Somebody who just wants to do something that's fast and easy and get it out on the layout without spending months and days of doing it. So that's what this video is going to be about. And today we are going to look at a series of billboard signs. These are billboard sign kits made by a company called Miller Engineering. And so we'll take a look at putting these together and putting them on your layout. But first, let's take a look at one that's already been installed and is up and working. So here we have a basic MTH Rail King A&W root beer stand building. It does not come with that flashing billboard sign you see on top of the roof there. That is actually a Miller Engineering billboard sign. So it shows you how you can add a little bit more realistic signs to your basic buildings, or to add just a touch of, that billboard style look to your layout. So let's take a look at one more building that I've done here. Here is a MTH Sinclair gas station. Over here we have a Miller Engineering flashing rotating sign. At the current moment, the rotating mechanism is not working. It is 5 years old, so I do need to replace it, but I installed that about 5 years ago. The sign part of it still flashes, so I never bothered replacing the rotating part of it. The new sign that I'm getting will go on top of this MTH Auto Parts building, right where that Dodge Daytona billboard is at. So that's the plan for today. Alright, so here is the Miller Engineering kit here, the billboard kit. For those who are wondering, yes, these are a little bit on the expensive side, but they do add some nice realistic neon signs to your layout if that's what you're looking for. They can range anywhere from right around the $50 per sign on up for signs this size. The larger ones are more money. For example, the MTH A&W sign that I showed you on the A&W MTH building, that sign I believe was like $45, $48 at the time I bought it. But of course the MTH building was only $50 as well. But I wanted to add a little bit more pizzazz to that building. And when I seen that Miller Engineering made this Conrail sign, billboard sign kit, I had to have it. If you look on this kit, in the instructions it says it runs on AAA batteries. There's other ways you can power this up, which it doesn't explain in the instructions. But I'll go through that later in the video. So let's take a look at what we got. So you get the sign itself. You have to be very careful how you handle this, because there's little micro strips inside of here that actually illuminate and light up. So if you mishandle it, you crank it, whatever you do to it, even bending this will destroy it. So make sure you handle this very carefully. It is delicate. So there's that part of it. Then you get your basic instructions right here. Then you get your supports for the back of the sign. And then you get your battery pack. So we'll open up the battery pack here so I can show you. Ugh. I hate opening up bags. At any rate, so in this kit, oops. Alright, so in this kit you get your battery pack for your 3 AA batteries, and you get a circuit board. On this circuit board you have a switch for your on and off, and then you have this button over here, which is your mode button. What that mode button does, it changes the way your sign flashes. Depending on the design of the sign, you could have up to 20 different modes. I think 25, but I'm going to be a little on the low side and say 20. So all you do is you push this button here, and I'll bring it up closer so you can see it. But you push this button right here to change the modes, and then here's your on-off button. And that's about it. You put this in an area where you're going to be able to reach it so you can turn it on and off. And I know what you're asking. You're going to ask me, well, what if I want to put it in a building that I can't reach it? Well, I'll cover this later in the video, so if you're one of those that want to install this in a building that you're not going to be able to reach, you can do that. What you're going to do is there's 2 other ways you can power this. There's a we'll go through that later, but basically what you can do is you can cut this battery pack off and then wire it to one of 2 other ways so you can power it off of a transformer. And when I'm talking about a transformer, I don't mean your train transformer, because this is DC power. This runs off of DC power. And 3 AA batteries is equal to 4.5 volts. So if you decide to put your track power to this, it won't be a good thing. You'll fry it. Not only because, you know, with O gauge, it's AC voltage and not DC voltage. And most of your DC transform, or most of your O gauge transformers put out 18 volts AC, which would fry this thing in an instant. So you don't want to hook this up to track power or your train transformer power. There are AC transformer packs you can buy to power this, and we'll go over that. So we already talked about a couple do's and don'ts with this. Like I said, these are very delicate. I'm going to share my experiences with these as I found a couple things out the hard way. My first 2 signs burned up, and it's not Miller Engineering's fault, it's my own. The first building I went to put it on, it wouldn't quite fit in there because, as you see, you have this long lead. So I was trying to put it in a building that was a tight spot. So what I did is I took this, and I'm not going to do it to this one, and I bent this tab back so it would plug in like that. So I plugged it in like, I wanted to be able to plug it in like that, so I bent this tab back. Well, that was a bad idea, because what happened is that just broke all the wires inside. It took a while for it to show up, but within a month it failed and it burned up. Another don't with this is don't put this together loose. when you plug this in, make sure it's plugged in all the way. If you don't plug it in all the way, what will happen is you'll have your plug will start to arc, and once again it will burn all the wires out and it'll burn your sign out. So make sure once you plug it in, it's plugged in. Once you do plug it in, leave it. So make sure you're putting this into a building you're going to want to keep it in. These are not made to unplug and plug back in, unplug and plug back in. Plug it in and leave it. The next thing is, you'll see there's dots. There's a white dot here and a white dot on your plug. So make sure when you plug it in, you're matching up your dots. It is polarity sensitive. If you decide not to pay attention and you do this, you'll burn it up. And $50 is a lot to burn up, trust me. I know, I did it to 2 of them about 5 years ago. So now I know better. So in the instructions, it doesn't tell you those things that I just explained to you. And on the mode button, it does say that there can be 46 modes. I thought there was only 20, but there can be 40. It says there can actually be 46 different modes depending on the design of your billboard. So the instructions on here are very basic, which is why I'm going over my own experiences with you so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. But once again, it's very critical. This is printed. This is like a print, and it's very fine fibers in here. If you bend this in any way or twist it, it will break the fibers in here. It may not fail right away, but it will prematurely fail. A lot of your hobby shops carry these Miller engineering kits. The hobby shops love to carry these. They're often overlooked, I'm sure, because of the expense of them. But if they're handled correctly, they're installed and put together correctly, you can get some good life out of them. I've had, the ones that I've done correctly, I've had good luck with. I wish there was somebody who made a video like this when I first started, and I wouldn't have done the things that I did to destroy the first 2 of mine. That was like very costly mistakes. So hopefully this video will help somebody from making the same mistake I did. Now, I'm not going to plug this in until I'm ready to do it through my building, because I don't want to unplug it and plug it. Once I plug it in, I'm going to leave it. Alright, so the biggest thing is you have to install these supports on the back of your sign. In the instructions it says the best way to do this is with CA glue and accelerator. So you'll put a line of glue on here, put it on there. Once you're happy where it's at, you take your accelerator and then spray it, and then it should stick there. So the best way to do this is with CA glue. So let's get that done and we'll come right back. Alright, so I have the brackets glued onto the back of my Conrail sign. And the sign will go on top of the building just like that. Isn't that cool? Making sure you guys can see that. Alright, and of course you want the, make sure when you're putting this together, you'll see there's a angled part of these braces and a flat part. Of course you want to apply glue to the flat part. And make sure that the top of your brackets are even with the top of the sign, because you want the bottom of your sign to be all for the building. So once again, make sure the brackets, I'll turn this around so you guys can see it, are even with the top of the sign. And they stick past the bottom, because you want the bottom to be above the building for protection of your plug. So there you can see how those braces end up being put on there. And I used a different kind of glue than... See, a lot of people who are new to the hobby want to know what CA glue is. All it is just a type of super glue. Some people like to use super glues where you put an accelerator on it. I like to use a brand of super glue called, from a brand name called Gorilla. There's several different types, or there's a couple different types of super glue by Gorilla. The one with the green cap has a 10-second setup. So this is for something that you want to put together and then take your hand off and leave it. If you're looking for something that you need more time to apply glue in other words, you're working on a large area, you don't want it to dry up by the time you get there, so you're going to want something that has longer than a 10-second layout or setup. So this has a 10-second setup period. I have other glues that, if I'm putting a building together, that has a longer setup period, so it gives me time to get it to where it needs to be for the joints. Alright, so that's it. We're pretty much ready to install that. For me, well, if you're doing this and you want to keep the batteries, you'll just put your AA batteries in here. This has adhesive on it. You can actually stick it to the inside of the building. So if you just want to take the building, pick your building up, flip it over and be able to turn it on and put your building back down, then you can do it that way. And like I said, there's your on-off switch right here. This is your on-off switch here. And here's your mode button. But Dakman is not going to pick up every building that he owns on his layout just to turn on a sign. That's not happening. So I power mine a different way, which is what I was telling you guys from the beginning. So I'm not going to need this battery pack. I'm going to cut the wires back, and I'm cutting it off, because I'm going to use an AC transformer. Now, you'll notice I left the lead on here because maybe I could use this for another project for something else later on that requires 4.5 volts. So that's why I left the lead on there. Alright, so for those who are new, red is positive and black is your negative. So let's go ahead and get this wired up. Alright, so now I'm going to wire up my my board here so I can use my transformer. And what I'm going to use today to do that with is 20 gauge solid copper wire, also known as bell wire or telephone wire. It's a solid core wire. It's not stranded. I will put a disclaimer out there. Solid wire is not recommended for using on your layout track that you have modern trains that are using controls such as TMCC, Legacy, MTH, because it will drive the electronics crazy. But the older stuff, such as let's say my Rock Island Line's locomotive over there, they originally came with solid core wire that goes to the track. So I just wanted to mention that solid core wire is not really recommended for any kind of locomotives that have boards in them. Alright, so all you need is pretty much, a set of crimpers. And you just strip back the wiring. Wiring today is pretty much universal as far as color coding, which is kind of cool. Red is normally always usually hot. And some people say, well, it's AC current. It really doesn't matter. But in some certain circumstances, it depends on the electronics. But you gotta be careful because some components are polarity sensitive. So yes, on some stuff, it would definitely matter. Alright, so we're ready to, so we got that all stripped back. And like I say, you just need strippers. Automotive store, Home Depot sells them, whatever your poison is. I actually got these free at a truck show. So that was a bonus. Getting something for free is always a bonus, right? And you want to make sure when you pull on this, you want to hold the wire. You don't want to take these crimpers like so. You don't want to take these crimpers and pull on it this way, because you'll pull the wire right out of the board. You don't want to do this. Hold the wire here. Okay, and that strips it back for you. Now you'll notice I'm leaving these a little on the long side. I'll strip this a little bit further back. There. And the reason why I stripped these so far back is because this wire is so thin that you'll see it here. The wire is so thin that I like to twist it and then double up on it so it goes into my, because I don't solder my stuff, which is always recommended. But who's got time for that? Who's got time to solder things? And there, I doubled up, and I'll show you why. So instead of tape and solder and all kinds of other things, I'm just going to use butt connectors, also available from an automotive store. They're not that expensive, and that's how I like to go myself. If you're looking, I do own a soldering gun. I do solder only when I have to. I don't like doing it because I don't want to be spending all day just soldering something. And for the beginners out there, it's easier just to use a butt connector, because to get somebody used to soldering is could be a pain. And I rather not. I gotta redo this end over again. I don't like how it came out. There we go. And we'll twist this up, put it together. I like things that are fast and easy. And, I believe that's 80% of the people out there. We do have people who want to do things the other way, but I don't want to be the next rest of my life before I get something done. And I think that's important to show people, the alternative to taking, forever to do something. Because for me, I lose patience, or not only do I lose patience, but I lose interest in something that takes forever to do, And I'll just, plop it, walk away, and so I figure out a way to get it done faster. So you can see here, unless you're going outside, you don't need to put over any kind of shrink wrap. They do sell shrink tubing if you do want to put something on there. It's up to you. I don't do it because I'm inside. I'm sure there'll be like viewers saying, more experienced people saying, "Oh, you should put shrink wrap on that. You should be using shrink wrap because what if water gets in there?" Well, nobody's going to come into my basement with water, or fluid, or soda, or anything else other than myself. So, just make sure you stick the wire inside your, make sure it's seated in there. And, I like to use these crimpers because they really crimp down on you can really get some leverage on there. And then you can do your tug test, I call it. Make sure it don't come apart. But you can see the difference in the crimps. So I use this for stripping and this for crimping, only because I can get more of a crimp because of the leverage of the pliers. Alright, so there I go. I'm ready to install this thing. I'll cut the lead off here, and I think I'm going to estimate here. I think I'm going to need, because my board is there. I'm pretty good. I already know where I need to run it, so I don't even have to measure it. I'm pretty good at eyeing things up. There we go. Alright, so let's get this out to the area where we're going to install it. And because I can't wait to see this light up, and I'm sure you can't either. And that way I can show you guys what I did to power this up. Alright, so we're back on location on Conahey Rail layout. That new Conrail sign is going to go where that Dodge Daytona sign is on top of that building right there. That's where I want it to go. And then I'll just relocate that billboard back onto the roadway somewhere. But in the meantime, we need to gain access to under the layout. And that's something that nobody's ever seen on video here. So I guess it'll be a first time for that. But right there where those flags are at is my access panel to the board that feeds these signs. Alright, so let me get out my handy Milwaukee drill. Alright, there we go. And then we'll take a closer look here. So about 2019, I spent the whole month rewiring the layouts with these MTH 12-port boards. MTH also offers them in 24-port. You'll notice I even labeled them Zone 2. So there's Zones 1 through Zone 3. I made up a little map or sheet of what each zone is and which each number on the zone feeds. So if I have a problem with a certain building, I know what zone it is and I know what number port it's wired to. Alright, so you'll have to forgive me because I'm holding the light and the camera and I'm underneath the Conahey rail at the same time. So here, you can see the board is actually powered by an AC transformer. This was the best way I found for powering my Miller Engineering signs. You can buy this setup right through Miller Engineering's website. So you just have an AC jack right there, and it just plugs right into an outlet, and it supplies 4.5 volts to that board, and you have all these ports you can use for your Miller Engineering sign. Let me show you. And that's it. Nice, easy, and when I turn the power on, it turns the buildings on. Alright, so I had the building lifted up, but before I did that I should have showed you. I cut a small hole in the top of the building, as you see right here. So if you don't want to cut a hole in your building, then I suggest you don't want to use these signs. But this is just a basic MTH building, 40 buck building, so I really don't care. So we're going to go ahead and feed our wire through here. Alright, so we're going to throw these wires down the hole. Probably in the way. Alright, you're going to want to leave yourself a little lead so you can move the building if you have to later on. If you're going to use the battery pack, make sure you put this in a spot somewhere in the building where you can reach it. For me, I don't need to do that because I have it wired directly. I just got to make sure that this sits flat on the floor in the building. And then I'm going to feed this up through the hole I just made into the roof. Alright, so I have my wire run through the top of the building. Of course, I got my building the wrong way. I want it that way. So there's my wire. Here's my Conrail Billboard sign. And remember what I told you early in the video. There's a white dot on here. Make sure you line up the white dot on this sign with the white dot on your plug. It does not tell you in instructions to do that. Alright, and make sure that you have it plugged in all the way. As far as it'll go. I mean, just give it a slight push. You don't want to push too hard because it's so delicate. Alright, there we go. Let's see how this sign looks. Okay, here we have the sign installed and it is lit up and going. Like I said, there's in the instructions, there's different modes you can change this with. You just hit the mode button. I like this mode, so I'm leaving it there because I don't want to scroll through 39 modes to get it back again. But let's take a closer look at this. There you go. Alright, so I guess you really can't totally appreciate this unless the lights are out. And there you go. You can actually see the sign here. Let me back up the... Let's come a little... There we go. Now, I don't have the building lights on because I'm going to do a little upgrade to them here. But, yeah, I just like these Miller Engineering signs. And when I seen a Conrail one, it was a must-have. And with the lights out, you can actually, you know, appreciate it. And I don't know if it's showing up on camera or not, but the light is not blue. It's actually, I mean, the light is not white. It's actually a light blue light that's coming from the Billboard sign. So I do like that touch of it. Let's turn the lights back on. Alright, so this is a video example of getting something on the layout and getting it done within a reasonable amount of time without spending forever doing it. I got a little bit of cleaning up to do here, but you know, it took me a whole, well, I've done these signs before, so with wiring and all, it probably took me a whole 15 to 20 minutes to install this, and now I got something that's cool on the layout. So I would buy more of these, yeah. Let me show you one more thing and then I'll let you guys go. So this is the plug for my Miller signs. And as you can see, it's got a switch on it. And it just plugs into the wall. Or in this case, my 6-way. But you can buy these switches that plug into the wall for your accessories at Walmart. And that's how I turn mine on and off. These are also available in Bluetooth, so if you have Alexa, you can actually plug your accessories in, label it a name like Miller. So you can say, Alexa, turn Miller on. Ooh, wait a minute, maybe you shouldn't say that. But yeah, at any rate, little humor there. Alright, so once again, thank you for hanging out with Dakman Productions as I clean this mess up and put it back together. And that makes my third Miller sign that's up and running now, even though I had 5 of them at one time. Like I said in the beginning of the video, 2 of them burned up and it was my fault. Miller does have a great warranty policy. So if something does fail on their end, they will replace it. So they're great like that. Alright, thanks for watching, and catch you guys later.